Hey everybody, this is Waytofail back with more Scrolls King of the Beta action, where today we are doing a best of three series between Think Tank's Donkey and Lahopaa of Strategic Angels. So this is going to be a series where both players are kind of evenly matched and are bringing some pretty similar decks to them. But let's go ahead and take a look at the first deck each player is going to play. And in fact, we're getting even more similarities because Donkey is bringing an undead decay deck, and Lahopaa is bringing a not quite as undead decay deck, but still a decay deck. So this is going to be a decay versus decay match. Yes, it is a matchup that still is alive today. And these two decks do kind of function a little bit differently here. You have Donkey using Revenants, using Anima Conduits to get more Revenants, really trying to get a lot of value out of his undead creatures, whether it's for Urva, Voice of the Dead, to get some extra attacks in there. Restless Bones is a good group buff or anything like that. Slayer Vestige, another very strong early drop that is undead as well. So if he can get a Flesh Animator out there and get a lot of undeads, he can control the board and get a lot of attacks going very quickly. On the other hand, Lahopaa playing a little bit more of what I guess I would call a traditional decay deck, where it includes your poisons, where it includes your curses, especially Curse Presence, always playing very nicely with Baleful Witch. And Bloodline Taint playing very nicely with Baleful Witch. And Bloodline Taint could actually be a very strong card in this matchup, considering Donkey's playing so much undead. But maybe neither player's expecting the other to start with decay, but that's what we're going with today. So let's go ahead and jump right into game one. Once again, best of three series. Each player brings three decks. Winner gets to keep using his deck. Loser has to choose a different deck. First to win the best of three moves on. Hope you know how that works. Let's go ahead and get this started. Here we go with Donkey on the left and Lahopaa on the right. Donkey starting off with his decay and decent opening hand, drawing Restless Bones first, getting a few undead creatures. The Visage is going to be nice. Lahopaa, on the other hand, immediately mulliganing and probably going to like that because he gets an Ilmire Tribesman, Loyal Darklings, Oblivion Seekers. Some pretty decent early plays, but Donkey liking what he has. You want to Slayer Visions out early because that early of a Slayer is very nice. Yes, it does have 3 cooldown, but if you get it on round 2, you're usually going to get 1 attack in there. So Lahopaa with an Ilmire Tribesman already trying to run away a little bit from the center of the board. So we have Donkey in the middle, Lahopaa kind of on the south side here, and a second Slayer Viges as well. So Donkey, I don't want to say he's hitting the nuts here, as he plays a Husk as well. But like I said, this is the tip-off right here that this is a undead style deck, the Husk, because you don't always see Husks going around just on their own unless they get Necrogeddoned out. So Lahopaa's got to know kind of what Donkey's deck is all about here, and does he have answers right now? This is the interesting part about decay, is that decay isn't necessarily about the very opening of the game, but we do have an Ilmire Rod Eater that is essentially saying, yes, please kill this Tribesman. I do like Tribesmen because they are pretty much 2 for 4 health. They sometimes will attack, but they act as pretty good chump blockers as well. But that chump blocker is not only going to feed the Rod Eater, but it's also going to feed the Harvester. Harvester is very big, very relentless, but they don't count down unless things die. So Decay is really good at killing units, sometimes even in its own. So Lahopaa actually getting 2 Harvesters and elects to drop 1 of his own while sacrificing the other. Definitely wants to get an Oblivion Seeker out as soon as possible. And this is where you're going to start to see some of these decks really diverge just a little bit. So Donkey understands that he's probably going to die to the Ilmire Rod Eater. But he does get out a Flesh Animator, and there we go. Right away. First blood going to Donkey. You don't get bonus gold for that in this game. And while he is going to lose 1 Slayer Vestige to the Rod Eater, his other units could get sped up by the Flesh Animator, so that's pretty nice. If you can get that going, and once again, that's a key if, because both of these Harvesters are now on 3 cooldown, 3 countdown. And Donkey has a lot of inexpensive cards. I do think this is a very interesting deck. I just want to see how it works well together. So another Flesh Animator right here. Flesh Animators are not undead, so they don't buff themselves down, but they do help other things. So the Rod Eater, 5/2, much more manageable, actually within Soul Steal range. And there's Lahopaa's first Bloodline Taint. You know he's going to hold on to that. But there's a Blightbearer as well, which this is interesting because Donkey's deck doesn't rely on poison damage at all. So we're going to have these other undead units in a second lose some countdown, including possibly the Harvester. But Blightbearer and Blightbearer, Bloodline Taint, as I'm stumbling over words here, and otherwise poisons that are played by Lahopaa could make things work just a little bit. But there we go. There's a soul steal. So, like I said, it was within range. You get things down to 2 health, and there you go. So, Harvester is going to be getting ready to go here. And otherwise, everybody's going to be hungry, ready to eat. So, what's interesting about that move, you may have wondered why the Flesh Animator got moved into range. It's because the Harvester got poisoned by the Blight Bear that died. Harvester's pretty squishy with 4 health. They're very much an offensive unit, but right now, that Harvester's as good as dead. It has Curse 2 from the first Bloodline Taint that's brought out. And that's where Donkey could be kicking himself in the face a little bit by playing an undead deck, because he's going to be very susceptible to those taints. And now it looks like he's going to try and focus in on the Harvester just a little bit. And yes, he can actually guarantee that the Shambler, it's going to move once every time it attacks, but he can't guarantee that this Harvester is knocked down to 1 health. So Donkey getting a lot of idle damage early. Actually, if he's not playing any Dominion units, but if he was, he did get a very early idle down, and that can snowball very quickly. But Baleful Witch, that is not a miraculous draw, but an awesome draw for Lahopaa here, because that activates any curse, and with Bloodline Taint, that means everybody that's cursed takes some damage here. So Slayer Visage, still there, Curse 2, it's the only thing that's still alive. And there we go. Donkey admitting he did not submit his deck. Cheater! Not really. Not at all. We don't mind. Donkey gave his decks later on, and I was able to look at him just fine. So, Husk, and here we go. Once again, the Rot Eater ready to play Hungry Hippos, but Lahopaa getting kind of the things that he wants right now. Rattle Him is a very interesting part of the deck because it does destroy lingering spells, but we haven't seen any of that from Donkey yet. But Lahopaa also getting out Necrogeddon, so that's kind of looks like his way to end the game strategy. But Soul Steal's pretty good. Languid's not going to be a play he makes because Donkey is still only on 4 resources. This is, I guess, a fast undead deck. So just trying to get out a lot of itty-bitties, which plays very nicely into Lahopaa and his 2 Harvesters, as there is a second Baleful Witch, but there's only 1 curse to pop at this point. So maybe not the best option here. Oh, can he actually activate those Harvesters this turn? Don't think he can, but he can make this guy very, very happy. So the Ilmar Rider says, nom, nom, nom. Life Stealer is still present, and what do we have here? Potential for, I don't know, he probably wanted some direct damage or something to get rid of the Harvesters, but instead he gets an Anima Conduit. And those conduits are interesting because it's anytime one of your creatures dies, it will summon a Revenant if it's not a Revenant there, and Revenants can attack within 1 turn. They die, but Infectious Blight, there's the first one. And once again, that's going to play very nicely with the other Baleful Witch if he gets it out, if he can Bloodline Taint. But there is another pop on the Anima Conduit. It takes pure damage. Mojang is still kind of playing with what damage types mean, but for here, at least right now, Poison is kind of a dicey thing for Lahopaa to play, because at least as of the current update where this is out, Poison is reduced by physical damage, so it's not nearly as good against energy, but that doesn't matter because this is a Decay versus Decay matchup. And we have a Harvester that is very likely going to eat this Stitcher before the Stitcher can stitch anything in stitches. Let's see how it goes. Just actually, in fact, that's going to be 2 idols down right away. Oh, almost down. Not quite. I cannot math. And that is another Revenant there as the Anima Construct is gone. And that is a very happy 8/8 Rot Eater. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to put this in. Oh, that's a very good move there. For those of you who may have missed what just got played, Restless Bones. Undead units get to attack until the end of turn and their countdown is decreased by 1. If you want your Revenants to be little bombs, this is a good way to do it. Those 2 Harvesters, which are threatening to do substantial damage, are suddenly not so threatening. Instead, there's a 9/9 Rot Eater. Now Lahopaa does have an answer by just drawing a Damning Curse, so he can ruin Donkey's day just a little bit. But does elect to actually get rid of the Damning Curse instead. Interesting, but it looks like instead he smells blood, and that blood is in the shape of Necrogeddon. So just like that, being able to move your units down 1 extra. Yeah, you can have your 9/9 Rot Eater. I'll take game 1. So Lahopaa right there, just taking Donkey's undead deck and sending it back to pasture. So that's going to be it for game 1. We'll continue with game 2, where Donkey's going to have to select a different deck and see if he can come up with some answers, because right now Lahopaa got the draws that he needed and got the combos to work in his favor, and when you can get your combos for Decay, you're going to have a good time. So that's it for now. This is Waytofail. Stay tuned for part 2 of this best of 3.